something real quick, but is everybody ready? Okay, cool. Listen, I just wanted to thank all of our staff. I want to start with our college scouts. Just it's a long season for those guys. Their season kind of starts in late May and goes through the summer, getting ready to prepare for their fall, and a lot of nights away from their families to do this job, and it's doesn't go unnoticed, and we don't get here and get the guys in front of me and our executive scouts without their work. So I want to start thanking those guys. Brian Gain, Terrence Gray, Matt Bazergan, all of the executive leaders that I have helping me lead this group did a great job. Our pro scouts, and then our coaches. Our coaches obviously don't jump in until we're getting ready for Indianapolis in these last couple months, but they hit the road for us too. Meeting these guys, Zooming them here late night, weekends, flying to do privates. It's a full team effort to only get X number of guys. How much you learn, and it's fun though because it still helps us track these guys once they become professional players. But anyway, I just wanted to start and thank all of them. They help this organization make the best decisions we can with each of these picks. So with that said, I'll turn it over to you guys.
We can start with Dion. You guys make an aggressive move up to get him. Where do you see him fitting in? Because it seems like there seems to be a little bit of a differing of opinion in the media world on the draft side about what his best fit is at the pro level.
What is their opinion? Break it down.
Some people think that he can be one technique. There's some people that don't think he can. He's more of a penetrator. Some people think that he's kind of like a Jordan Phillips, like pass rusher. How do you guys do it?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he can. We try not to, with too many of these positions, just say you're just a nose tackle, you're just a one tech, you're just a three. It's kind of like you like your offensive lineman. You like a center guard or a guard tackle. Flexibility. He can play both for us. I do think he, from a size standpoint, you got Ed here and him here, like from a pairing two guys, but he does provide pass rush inside. So he can do both, and we'll play him all over depending on what situations are. I don't want to peg these guys down. I mean, even talking about TJ last night, I know I said kind of position one is three tech, but he's plenty big and strong, and he's going to get stronger. He can play the one if we need him to do that. So I don't want to get that lost. I know I felt like when I left here, I was telling Derek, like, it feels like you guys were like wondering, do we have enough size or beef? Like we only have three techs. Like we're very confident, even if we didn't add him. He was still there, and we're just like, man, we got a good grade on this guy. We think he can help us. He played better in 2023 than he did 2024. His 2023 film is very strong.
His back injury, Brad, I think is what held him back last year. Did you get a good medical on him, and you feel confident about that?
No, he failed the physical, but we took it. I'm just kidding. Yes, yep, we did all that stuff. Here's what I would say, Sal, in all seriousness. If we were playing a game, he's healthy enough to go play a game. We do want to get that stronger to another level. So we still have time before camp. So I can't tell you that we're going to decide when we get him in here how much we'll practice him between now and camp. Our number one goal is going to be make sure we have him as strong and that back, hopefully, to what it was in 23. I don't think it's that far off. And so we're going to kind of take that by – so I'm just giving you a heads up. If we decide to limit him during the spring, that's just to make sure we are making him more ready, more durable, and letting that thing continue to heal. But we feel there's a good prognosis with him, and we feel he'll be full go, ready to play when we get to training camp.
Was size and speed more of a point of emphasis going into this draft?
Good football players. I'm always looking for the measurables. You always want to look at the card, as we call it, height, weight, speed, and all that, but it starts, Mookie, with good football players. Yeah, I think he's again, I just mentioned versatility. He's played corner, he's played a little safety, he's done a little nickel. Like, love the versatility that he's got, and so for us, I see him slotting in right now as kind of a safety and a nickel. We'll give him reps at both in the spring, and then determine how much when we get to camp. Is it 50-50? Is it, 75-25? But a good DB has played a lot of meaningful football games, and so it won't be too big for him. And I think he's very football smart, which you need to be to play multiple spots.
Your first 5 picks are defense. Three of those defensive linemen, I know the board ultimately steers your decision-making, but were there other factors, whether it's the free agent signees and not having them for the first month and a half of the season? Were there other factors in there?
The free agent signees, nothing to do with that, Chris. It was truly the board. I mean, Derek's in there. He can tell you. Until we got to the very end of the draft, it was the highest player on the board. That's what it was. I would say either how we graded him, how we viewed him, but I thought it was a stronger, more depth on the defensive side of this draft. I mean, we talked about that even before the draft, the D-line, and there was some in the secondary. So it truly sometimes is where it is when you're drafting, or you're like, man, I really like this guy. He could help us. Let's go up and get him. We did that a couple of times. But, you're always going to leave a draft and somebody's going to say, well, why didn't you address this? I couldn't have told you guys quite candidly that we weren't going to draft a receiver until the last pick. Like, there were guys we had on the board, but when we picked, we just took the best player, the highest value that we had graded. Right or wrong, that's how we do all our work, and it makes it easy. You know what I mean? Now, and listen, there's a couple of times, I think Derek and I were talking about it coming down, there was 2 times in the draft where we were down to a player or 2, and it was like, oh, he just went, now we know where we're, you know what I mean? If you set your board right, it takes a lot of the last-minute drama on the clock away, and we're truly talking about them as we get within 5, 4, 3, 2 picks. All right, now we're down to, there's 2 picks left. This is going to be choice 1. This is going to be choice 2.
With 3 D linemen in your first 4, in the way you rotate up front, how much do you anticipate or envision them pushing for playing time right away?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be a fun battle when we get to St. John Fisher and put the pads on. I mean, the spring's the spring. We'll get the reps. That's obviously a position that you can only evaluate so much until the helmets and pads are on. But I think there's going to be a lot of competition in there. We've obviously infused a lot of youth, but we got veterans in there as well, and I'm excited.
Brandon, you kind of just asked yourself the question that I think a lot of us were going to ask you about wide receiver and waiting until the 7th round. That whole idea in terms of doing enough to support Josh, do you feel like with where that group is coming out of the draft, you're comfortable with its makeup of the wide receiver room?
Yeah, we do. I mean, I think, Jay, we felt very good. I mean, I think people forget, there's always names and things like that. People forget our offense. Again, look at the ranks last year. I don't think we've regressed. And, time will tell. This is on the team is on paper, the offense is on paper. But I didn't leave last season on offense going, man, this didn't work. Like, we didn't get the job done. I didn't see us coming up short in games or in the playoffs on the offensive side of the ball. And like I said the other day, best player on the board was a receiver. I promise you, we would have taken him. At the time, that is not how we valued it, and so that's what we did. That's my right or wrong. That's just how I feel like you build a team.
So Brandon, move up for Dion. Was that, you kind of said this a little bit earlier, but was that really about, we can't believe he's on the board there, and that's why the aggression to get up and get him?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Dion, we grade these guys as scouts. Guys like him especially, we put grades on them before they even start their final season from the year before. We've got eyes on them. We start that process in May. And I had my own grade, I had a very good grade on him before he ever played a game this year based off of his 2023 film. His 2024 film was a little inconsistent. As the more research you do, you find out he's dealing with a back situation. And so that's where you just go, all right, if we can get this guy back to 2023, he wouldn't be here right now. And so you're trying to find that sweet spot. Yes, we're not going to draft him off of 2023. That's not what we saw. But I don't want to total lose sight. He just turned 21 in March, I believe. This is a young, moldable. He is not anywhere near his ceiling. And so he's a guy you want to get your hands on and see if you can grow and develop this guy. He didn't forget how to play football in a year. And I believe if he had come out a year ago, he would have been in the first round. That's my opinion.
What are some of the things that he needs to develop on that will help him?
Well, there's a lot of things. I mean, just I thought his pad levels got a little high this year. Again, the back, but he's got good rush feel. He's very smart. He's very instinctive. He's a big man. I mean, physics shows you that. And so, I mean, that's, you guys will see him. He'll fill up this chair a lot more than I do when he's in here. But some of that is just God-given talent. But he's football smart, and that's what we picked up. He's a guy that we had in Indy. First exposure to him, really, he was down at the Senior Bowl a little bit. I was not able to get there and meet him, but then brought him here on a 30 visit. And I feel like that's a young man that knows this year didn't go as well as he thought or hoped. And you're hoping that you get a chip. We do have to make sure he's fully ready to go, as I alluded to Sal's question earlier. But I like his ceiling. I like what we can do. And I thought at that point it made a lot of sense. Yeah, played really good. I mean, the game that I had not graded him, I'll be honest with you. I'm watching that Georgia Tech game that was a thriller, and this dude's all over the tape, standing out, making plays. And so we start talking about him, and our scouts had been in there and done him, and that's when he kind of caught my own eye, and we just talked about him through the process. Brought him in on a 30 visit as well. Unique story with him, but think he's a guy that can block, but has enough athletic abilities, not a throwaway in the pass game, but probably more of a Y today than an F, if you were saying. But we hope to make him good in both.
There were a lot of fans who thought that you could or should draft a running back based on what's going on with James. Does this say that you didn't draft one that you're comfortable with, at least where that is right now, and the running back room overall?
Yeah, been very comfortable with James the whole time. I hope everyone's seen that. Like, we love James, and I call him Jimbo, but we love Jimbo. Nothing has changed. The business is the business. If Jimbo walked through those doors, I'd give him a big hug, and I believe he would do the same. And that's the God's honest truth. I don't let the business affect, like, I understand it. And I think outside world sometimes tries to make things bigger than they are. Social media, I know, adds to that. Jimbo has a big heart. He's a competitive dude. He wants to win. And nothing gives me any concern about Jimbo being ready to play football for the Buffalo Bills this year. No. I mean, day one and day two, and even starting with day three for sure, it's just best player. It's best player, and why you put him on the board. And best player, sometimes the guy can already be at his ceiling, but you're like, man, that's still a really good player. Sometimes best player is, man, when we get him here, the way we're going to use him, we really value that. And so we talk about it, high floor, low ceiling, whatever it is, with each player and each prospect, but it's truly just setting our board mat and going with it. Yes, as you get later in the day, you start having the conversation of, are we drafting a guy we 100% know can't make this roster unless three guys get hurt in front of him? Like you start going, where do we need to fill some holes that we haven't had? But you're still trying to get them close to the value. If not, that's where you may trade down or trade back up. But yes, until on the back end of today, it's go up there and pull the card off the highest player on the board.
Brandon, you say you went by the board, but you went up a couple times to get certain players. Was defense then, since they were defensive guys, how much of a priority was addressing that side of the ball above anything else entering the draft?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we needed to get, I felt when we set the board, the way where the strengths were compared to some of the, needs, perceived needs, whatever they are, of our roster, I thought that some of those matched. So I felt like there would be good opportunities, and, we set the board that way. You don't know how it's going to fall. I mean, listen, there's a couple of times where you're going that ended up being defense. You're going, it could be an offense, could be a defense here looking as you're getting close. And it just, you never know. I can tell you 100% it wasn't going into it, hey, we have to get X number of defensive players out of this draft. As I said yesterday, I did think the way the board was stacked, where the strengths of the board were, 2 of our first 3 picks would be, I felt pretty good, would land up that we would have a defensive player there that we liked, that filled a need as well at the value. We went up to get TJ because we had him higher on our board. And in our minds, if we have him up there, we feel like at least a few other teams are. Everybody grades for their own team, and that filled a need for us. And so we went and said, I always say, like, if you have the ammo, how mad are you going to be if the guy's gone before you get there? I would have been disappointed if he went in front. And that happens. There's always guys that go off. You're like, ugh, I'd like that guy. But, yeah, that's a long-winded answer, John. But
You've got a basketball team for a defensive line. Is that something you really cover? I mean, obviously Jackson, 6'6", you've already got Vanessa Russo, Walker. I mean, is that something you guys have prioritized, or is it just the athlete's the athlete? I don't know.
yeah, it's a little bit of both. I mean, I think you do. Listen, Dave Gettleman used to always say this: big men allow you to compete, and it resonated with me, and I believe in it. And we've tried. I mean, I know that one year, the draft we took Rousseau. It was Rousseau and Boogie and Spencer and Tommy Doyle. It was we would have been really good at the YMCA. Me and those 4. But yeah, I mean, it's physics is real. It's a grown man's game. We're still grading the football player, though. I'm not just, as I said earlier, taking the card. We're trying, but yes, if it's close, skill set wise, you're going to lean to the bigger, longer prospect if it's close.
Brandon, in the big picture, though, as you look at how this ramps up the competition on defense and makes the defense younger, how do you see that unit now as compared to a year ago, 2 years ago, and how it looks projecting forward?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably not as clear of a picture of what it will look like on game day yet. I mean, even with the free agent moves, I mean, this is our first time with Joey Bosa, Michael Hoyt, Ogunjobi. It has been a lot of changes on the D-line. We still have some familiar faces: Ed, Greg, Daquan, and Solomon will be back, and A.J. Epinesa and some of those guys. But it's also Dwayne Carter. It's also a lot new, and we want it to be deep. We want it to have a variety of skill sets, and we want competition. Like, I want it to be hard as hell to be one of the however many D linemen we keep to get on this 53.
Brandon, where do you see Hancock starting? He played a lot of positions in the secondary.
Safety and nickel. Yeah, both. We'll kind of split those up, those reps. Yeah, I mean, we use Cam Lewis like that a little bit, where he's done both. He has played corner, but we're kind of looking more nickel safety. He's played a little bit. He's probably played the least of safety, but we think we've seen enough that he'll play there.
Randy, what about Chase? Because he was telling us on the
Yeah, I mean, I'd say we're going to start him at tackle, but Chrome always tries to get these guys to go downside. I mean, even Tommy Doyle went in there a little bit before he got hurt. Like, it is harder for those guys. They got to be able to bend from a leverage standpoint. But we do want versatility. So, we'll see if he can, how he looks in there. We'll get him just the reps in the spring. It's not a lot of contact at that point. I think he would have to prove that once we got to the preseason.
14% of your offensive snaps, you went with 6 offensive linemen. Will Spencer Hawes, Jackson Hawes get an opportunity to compete for some of those snaps?
Yeah, I mean, it's early, but we'll throw him in to do everything that he can and how quickly he gets up to speed in the offense, what he learns. We'll get our hands on him, get his skill set, but we do like what he is, and it's hard as, how guys are used in sometimes in their system to how ours, but, there's some things technically he's going to clean up, but he's a very, very smart guy. I mean, no, you're good.
To kind of humanize the last couple of days, we talk here every year, cut down day on roster day, you say it's one of the toughest days for you in the profession. This is the opposite side of the coin. You
Yeah.
make these calls. What's it like to be on that phone, letting a guy know that, here's your dream?
No, it's awesome. It's fun. It's exciting because first off, I'm excited, man. Yes, we got this guy. We covet him. We value him, especially the ones that you've already met through Senior Bowl Combine 30 visit. You already kind of have a little bit of a relationship. But no, it's so fun, and it's always fun to hear the reaction. Sometimes you can struggle to hear him because the family's going crazy in the background, or you guys heard Landon last night. He could barely get it. Maxwell was, he was struggling. What a beautiful family he had here. I think you guys got to meet him maybe too, but it's so cool just to hear their stories, see where they're at. Yeah, we're at this place in my hometown. I got, you're asking them who's there, and it's very cool. Much more fun than the day we cut down to 53.
After Deion's selection, Max tweeted out the Kentucky Bills, have 3 former, now, once again, teammates. Utah, you have a few guys in there. Florida, you traded twice with Chicago in this draft. How much is there to be said for familiarity when it comes to the draft process? It's kind of an inexact science. I'm sure you try to familiarize yourself as best you can. How much is there to be said for that?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just coincidental. It really is. But, yeah, I mean, you definitely talk on Max and Deion's. Both of them were in Indy and then in for 30 visits. So I asked each one of them. They weren't on the same day. I asked each one about the other one. You always want to know what their teammates say about them. Obviously, we had Ray in here, which helped. And, yeah, and Ray and Max were both texting me today about another Wildcat. We didn't get him, but they were pressing me for another one. I was like, slow down, slow down.
Dorian Strong?
Yeah.
Mainly outside? Dorian
Yes, yeah, he does. I do think he has some nickel flex. We'll check that out, but he would be an outside corner for us to start out.
He said he likes playing press man.
Yeah,
And it's what he, like, when you hear that from a guy,
yeah,
like, I know he has flexibility. What do you like when you hear that?
yeah. I mean, that's a guy that loves getting another dude's face and like mix it up and feels comfortable. When you do that, you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position because if you whiff at the line or you get in trail, your back's to the ball, and you got to make sure you don't have ball panic when you get out of phase from an interference standpoint. So it's not easy. It's a good skill set. Not everyone has it, as we know, and the coaches will get a good feel for him and try and put him in his best position to succeed. Yeah. Speaking of how the card looks, he's a big, straight line, fast guy. Ronald Curry actually went out and worked a couple of the Maryland guys out, and so RC spoke very highly of him during that, and that made an impression on us of work habits and details. But yeah, as I said earlier when we were talking about size and how the card reads, it looks pretty good. He's got some things to work on, it's just why he's available. We also think with that he could you know, one of his ways to compete to make the roster could be to help on special teams as well.
Speaking of that, on Tuesday, you talked about projecting special teams, even though they might not have had the experience. So which of these guys from this draft class are you guys projecting to potentially have a role in special teams?
Yeah, I mean, I think Hancock. Let me look through here. Hancock, Halls can do a little bit. Dorian Strong did some good things on teams, and Prather. Those guys. I mean, Landon's athletic enough. You know, we've had Epinesa do some, you know, a couple of phases for us when when he wasn't playing as prominent roles. So I would think he can pitch in for us as well. Maxwell, we'll see. He can. He's played gunner. He's done those things. Probably some of that would depend on whether he won the starting job or not.
Are there specific positions you're looking at with this UDF base? that you wanna-
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we do have, hey, we're trying to build that 90 man out, so we're trying to build it with the best guys that we can from a competitive standpoint. We won't get to 90 right now. We also have the rookie camp. You know, a lot of times we'll sign a couple of those. Hopefully, find another Buffalo Joe or Cam Lewis or some of those guys in there. Thank you.